What attracted me to the neighborhood in the first place was the Soho. It was an earlier place where we all went. I mean, Soho was art. Soho was excitement. Soho was, I was going to say sex, but we don't use that word. Soho was the goal. And so Soho was always the exciting part of New York. So when I saw that part of town, I got that feeling of home, that feeling of this is the neighborhood. We have no sense of neighborhood uptown. I mean, all the Park Avenue you want, but you're not going to get a sense of neighborhood on Park Avenue. But you are in Spring Street. Now, in the middle of that block is the Ear Inn, which sits right here and is redolent of the memory of James Brown. I want as much of this be as used as it always has, give you the sense of continuity of the past. So we took off from the Ear Inn, and the streetscape is a walkway, the length of the block, in fact, the length of much of the rest of the block as we can, not just Spring Street, of flowers. Flowers are the most transitory, but also the most human thing we could have. And by using, let's say, tulips, the tulip season, the tulips will be about that far apart. And think of going through a field of tulips. I want tulips on both sides of the walkway. So my goal in this building has always been in the back of my head, how will we rekindle, I'd rather reinforce this sense of neighborhood that's already here. So what we did, I think, was very clever. We picked the ordinary, normal brick colors, the gray bricks, the red bricks, the black bricks, yellow bricks, and so on, from old buildings. So the whole thing will look very, very familiar. Those of us who are old enough, I am, to remember a brick New York. Right? And that, so the whole thing will be very familiar. Well, it won't look like a Seagram building, and the name of modern building, a break in the texture of the town. It'll be a reinforcement of the texture of the town, especially that texture of this town. It'll be an emphasis of the Spring Street look. See, if we can make a monument, a piece of sculpture at the end of Spring Street that represents the look of Spring Street as it was in what I call the great days, that's the days that looks as it does now, you see, then we made a sculpture that's really unique. Now, how we're doing that, how we make a monument out of this perfectly normal New York building method, with the windows the same, the bricks the same, the frames of the windows the same, is by having them in different panels of different sizes, and especially on this side, you'll see that they pitch slightly differently. But each facet will become a building in its own right. I think Picasso would have understood these shapes much easier than he would any other American tall buildings. But, for instance, taking this at 45 degrees to the street is radical. And breaking this square as it mounts, whoops, and making it a cut angle. And then appearing, you see behind it, appears other shapes around it. It's a cluster of smaller shapes. Each one is a different color. Each one has its own characteristic, but they cluster. It's like a bunch of flowers. It's like by having 10 of them together, you increase the influence of any one of the 10. The area is changing. You can't help that. And if you're going to build buildings, for heaven's sake, let's build a piece of sculpture that can say this is the monumental essence of this area. This building should be built because every community, and this is a community, one of the few in New York. New York is just an expression. The communities in it are few and far between, and this is one. To monumentalize, that you recall, to make a statement of this community, we need a symbol, I think. And I think I'll put myself in with you in living here. I expect to live here. I mean, I see no sense in building a living sculpture, or whatever you call it, if I'm not willing to move in myself. That shows a lack of love of my own building. And boy, that isn't true. So we're going to create, just for our area now, I've appropriated the area. We're going to build a monument to the area. We're going to build a place to live. It's a monument that you can live in. In other words, we're original. Originality here is not a brand new glass system. It's a new combination of ways you put shapes, recognizable shapes together, like a bunch of flowers. And it should be the most exciting building in New York.